1, 2, 3, 4.
Wanna hear you go.
I am Sahar Andrade. I'm a neuroscience-based leadership consultant and Forbes Coaches Council member. I answer why do 78% of workers fear losing their jobs even when unemployment is near record lows. Because job fear is not a rational economic response. It's a nervous system survival response triggered by identity threat, relevance threat, and uncertainty about the future. When AI enters the workplace, it activates all three at the same time. No statistic overrides that. Only regulated leadership does. In this episode, we unpack the science, the cost, and what leaders must do differently. So I want to start with a number that stopped me cold. 78. 78 is more than 3/4, okay? 78% of workers worldwide fear losing their job to AI and automation. ADP surveyed 39,000 people across 36 countries. 36 countries. Published March 25th, 4 days before I recorded this. Only 22% feel safe. 22% feel safe. Now, here is what makes that number almost impossible to explain. Unemployment is near record lows. If the economy were a report card, it would say, jobs are fine, people are working, the data is good. And almost 4 in 5 workers are afraid anyhow and anyway. This is not a disconnect. This is a diagnosis. And today, that is exactly what we're doing. So welcome to AI Cafe Conversations. I am your AI whisperer. And over the last 20 years, I've been studying what happens inside the human brain when the world outside it stops making sense. I have sat across from executives who had the data, the strategy, the resources, and still watch their teams disengage from AI transformation. Not because the people were resistant, though this is the excuse they give. Not because the plan was wrong, and this is where the applicants might accuse the executives of, and both are not correct. But because the nervous system was never brought along for the ride. That is what we are talking about today. This episode is for every leader who has done everything right on paper and is still watching fear win. So let's go into it. What is actually happening? I want to tell you about a conversation I had not long ago. I was working with a senior director at a large organization, smart, experienced. She had led teams through mergers, restructures, 2 rounds of layoffs. She had seen everything. Her company rolled out a new AI platform. Leadership announced it was not replacing jobs. It was actually creating capacity. The communications were clear. The facts were thorough. The CEO personally did an all hands. And her team still went quiet. Crickets. Engagement dropped. People stopped volunteering for projects. Her best performer, someone who had been with the team for 6 years, started leaving at exactly 5 p.m. every day and stopped offering ideas in meetings. She asked me, what am I missing? I told her nothing in the message, but everything in the biology. Here is what the ADP data is actually showing us. Fear is not a logic problem. That's why they call fear fake elements appealing real, right? The part of the brain that processes fear is called the amygdala. It lives in the limbic system, sometimes called the emotional brain. And the amygdala has one job. It scans for threats, for dangers, either real or perceived, constantly. Before you finish a sentence, before you finish a thought, the amygdala has already asked and answered one question, the main question, the basic question. Am I safe here? Now, what does the amygdala read as a threat? Not facts, not statistics, not reassurance memos. It reads signals. And when AI walks into a workplace, it sends 3 signals simultaneously. And all 3 of them trigger a threat response. Signal number 1, identity threat. If AI can do what I do, am I still the expert in this room? Am I still the person people come to? Is my value still real? That question is not about job security. It's about identity. An identity threat activates the amygdala as powerfully as physical danger. Signal number 2, relevance threat. Am I keeping up? Do I look like I'm struggling? If I ask for help with this tool, does that signal that I'm behind? That I am replaceable? Signal 3, future threat. When AI adoption keeps accelerating and nobody has told me where this ends, my nervous system fills in the blank. That's what our brain does. It cannot live on chaos. It fills the gaps. That's why we have shortcuts. That's why we have blind spots. Because I'd rather fill it with something that makes me feel calm and safe and normal, even if it's not true. And it does not fill it with optimism. Why? Because the brain default is negative. Evolution did not wire us for optimism under uncertainty, but it wired us for caution. All 3 signals at once. That is what is running in the nervous system of 78% of your workforce right now. I call this FOBO. I didn't name it, but I use the term, someone else created it. It's called fear of obsolescence. It is not a skills gap. It's not a communication gap. It's not resistance to change. It's a survival response, a biological, predictable, measurable survival response. And you cannot talk someone out of a survival response with a slide deck. Like, you can't convince someone that decided to jump from the roof through slides. It's not going to happen. Here is what makes this particularly hard for leaders. FOBO is quiet. It does not announce itself. Your best people are not going to walk into your office and say, hey, I'm terrified AI is making me obsolete. By the way, this is higher rates in executives. The FOBO is higher in executives and leadership, but no one talks about it. They are going to stop volunteering, stop contributing above their lane, start looking for ways to quietly prove their value before anyone asks, quite quitting. Remember the 52% stat, more than half of department level AI initiatives operating without formal approval, shadow AI? People going around the system. Most leaders read that as insubordination, What it actually is, people in FOBO trying to demonstrate relevance before someone takes it away. That is the nervous system doing what the nervous system does and supposed to do. It's not a culture problem, it's actually a biology problem. A biology has a different solution. What this is taking from you right now? What's the cost? So let me make this concrete, because FOBO does not stay in the feelings department. It hits the business in ways that are actually measurable. Cost number one, AI adoption collapses. Here is the painful irony. The organizations investing the most in AI tools are seeing the worst adoption numbers, not because of the tools, but because in the human nervous system, carrying those tools are activated into threat mode. When the amygdala is running, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles learning, judgment, strategic thinking, and behavior change, goes totally offline. Not metaphorically, literally. The neural pathways that carry resources to the prefrontal cortex are diverted to the survival system. You cannot learn something new when your brain believes you are in danger. It holds you hostage. You cannot adopt a tool when the tool itself is the source of the threat signal. So your employees sit in the AI training, nod their heads, go back to their desk, and quietly keep doing what they did before. And your AI adoption numbers stay flat, and nobody in the room will tell you why. Cost number two, your highest performers disengage first. This is the one that keeps me up. The people most likely to go quiet under FOBO are not the ones you are already managing for performance. They are the people who care the most. High performers have the most identity tied to their work. They have the most to lose, so when AI threatens that identity, even theoretically, the protective response is strongest in them. They do not rage quite. They shrink. They play it safe. They stop bringing the bold thinking that made them valuable in the first place. DDI's Global Leadership Forecast 2026 found that 92% of executives feel unprepared for the pace of change right now. Let that sit in. 92%. This is not a capability gap. This is a regulation gap. These are experienced leaders whose nervous systems are running threat responses, and nobody has given them a language for it or a way through it. Cost number three, trust in leadership collapses. Google's Project Aristotle, one of the most cited studies in organizational psychology, found that psychological safety increases team learning by 35% and team performance by 27%. Psychological safety is the felt sense that it's safe to speak up, to try, to question, to fail, to learn, to not know. FOBO destroys psychological safety quietly, without a single policy change. Psychological safety are not values on a website, are not words on a memo, and are not on a clipboard in the kitchen area. It's an emotion. It has to be felt inside. So when people do not feel safe, they stop bringing real problems to leadership. They manage up. They present what looks good, and leaders lose access to the actual intelligence of their organization. You make decisions based on sanitized reports, while the real situation is running somewhere underneath it. And cost number four, this one is the long-term one. Chronic cortisol. Cortisol is the primary stress hormone. In short bursts, it's useful. It sharpens attention, it gets you moving. But in chronic doses, which is what a sustained FOBO state produces, it physically reduces the volume of the prefrontal cortex, our thinking brain, over time. This is documented research from neuroscientist Bruce McEwen. Chronic stress literally shrinks the judgment center of the brain. Your leaders and employees are not just stressed right now. If this continues, they are developing worse decision-making capacity over time. That is the cost of ignoring FOBO. It's not a morale problem, it's a cognitive infrastructure problem, and it compounds. So what is the solution? What regulated leaders do differently? So what do you actually do with this? I want to give you 3 specific shifts, not a framework overview, 3 things that change what FOBO does in your organization, starting with your next leadership interaction. Shift number 1, stop leading with AI capability. Start leading with human investment, human-centered AI. Every AI announcement without a visible human development commitment is a threat signal. I'm not asking you to slow down AI adoption. I'm asking you to pair every AI advancement story with a visible demonstration that the humans carrying it are being invested in. Why does this matter neurologically? The AGP report found that workers who believe their employer is investing in their skills are 5.3 times more likely to feel job secure. 5.3 times. That number is not about skills, it's about the nervous system reading a safety signal. I am seen, I am valued, I am being developed. The threat response quiets when that signal is present. So the question for every leader in this room is not, did we communicate the AI strategy clearly? The question is, what did we visibly invest in the people who are supposed to carry it? Shift number 2, name the fear before it names you. This is one of the most powerful things a leader can do, and almost none of them do it. Neuroscience research, including work by UCLA psychologist Matthew Lieberman, found that when we label an emotional state, when we put language in what we are feeling, the amygdala activity measurably decreases. They call this affect labeling. Naming the feeling quiets the threat system. So when a leader stands in front of their team and says, honestly, without corporate polish, I know this AI shift feels destabilizing. I know there are things we cannot fully predict yet. I know that uncertainty is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable for me too. That is not weakness. That is nervous system leadership. It's authenticity. It's not catastrophizing. It's not confirming the fear. It's the nervous system equivalent of turning on the lights in a dark room. The threat response lowers because the uncertainty, the thing the amygdala hates most, just got acknowledged. Adapt labeling. And here is the counterintuitive part. Most leaders avoid naming the fear because they think it will make it bigger. It does the opposite. What makes FOBO grow in silence, what makes it shrink, is being seen. Shift number 3, regulation before reassurance. This is the one most leaders have never heard of, and it's the most important. Reassurance is data. Reassurance is logic. Reassurance is the all hands email saying we are not replacing jobs, here are the numbers, here is the plan. Regulation is something different. The polyvagal theory developed by neuroscientist Stephen Porges tells us that the human nervous system co-regulates, meaning a regulated nervous system in the room calms unregulated nervous systems around it. This is why a panic team settles when a calm leader walks in, not because of what leaders said, but because of the psychological state they were carrying. So reassurance says, here is why you should not be afraid. Regulation says, I'm not afraid, and you are safe with me in this. Your people cannot hear the content of your message if their amygdala is running. The threat response cuts off access to the analytical brain. You have to regulate the nervous system first, then the information lens. What does that look like practically? It looks like a leader who is present before they are informative, who makes eye contact, who does not rush, who slows down in the moments that feel uncertain instead of speeding up. It looks like leadership that does not perform confidence, but actually carries it. There is a neurological difference between the two, and people sense it immediately. In my work, I use a methodology called BRAIN, B-R-A-I-N. 5 evidence-based principles that create the neurological conditions for sustained leadership. One of those principles is about exactly this: recognizing and working with the psychological state of the people you lead. I will not walk you through it today. That is what consultations are for. But I will tell you this. The leaders who are winning AI transformation right now are not the ones with the best tools or the clearest strategy. They are the ones who understand that before the strategy could land, the nervous system had to be safe. Regulate first, strategize second. That's the whole thing. Here is where I want to leave you. The ADP data dropped last week. The conversation window on this is right now. If you're managing a team, a division, or an organization, and what you heard today sounds like something you're living, I want to offer you one next step. Not a program, not a pitch, just a conversation. I offer a leadership clarity call, 30 minutes, no agenda other than your situation. We look at what's actually happening in the nervous system state of your team, and I tell you what I see and what I would do. The link is in the description notes. So book a time that works for you. And before you go, if this episode landed, please like it and share it. Not because I need just numbers. I actually need more people to listen to this, but it's not about numbers. It's because there is someone in your network right now who is watching their team go quiet and does not know why. Send it to them. I'm Sahar Andrade, your AI whisperer. Thank you for being here, and I will see you on Friday. Like every time before I go, I ask you to show me some love, share, like, subscribe. You can email me at sahar@saharconsulting.com. Find me on LinkedIn, Sahar Andrade. Till we meet next time, peace out.